Jamaica. Good evening to all of our colleagues across Jamaica and the Caribbean, and of course, across the world. You're watching the Jamaica Teachers Association channels on YouTube and on our Facebook page as well. Thank you for joining us this evening as we present yet another of our presidential election pre-debates with our candidates. My name is Leon Nash.
And I'm Lillian Lewis MacDonald. It's so wonderful that as the Jamaica Teachers Association celebrates their 60th year, that we're able to join with these pre-debate presidential candidates. And so we're in for a very interactive and awesome evening, hearing from our contestants or electees, their manifestos and their plans.
Thank you very much, Ms. McDonald. And as you join us this evening, remember, you can also participate by giving us some of your questions that you might have for our candidates this evening online. And we will ask them for you or present them here as we come to you live from the halls of the Jamaica Teachers Association headquarters in Kingston, 97B Church Street, Jamaica. We're going to be heading to the platform at this time, and we have a number of our colleagues from across the island, from St. Thomas, from Clarendon, from St. James, from Manchester, from Kingston, from Westmoreland, who are going to be here this evening with us. And our first person that will be speaking and introducing himself is none other than Mr. Mark Malava.
Thank you, Mr. Nash. Good evening, everyone. Good evening to my fellow colleagues who are also candidates in the race. Good evening to everyone that is in the virtual space listening. Name is Mark Malava. There is a B somewhere in the name. I don't know what it is doing inside there except for take up space. I have been a principal since December 1, 2016. Prior to that, I was a classroom teacher at the Charles Smith High School. Over the years, I have always had a passion for education. I have always been a passionate advocate for education and the need for transformation within education. I certainly believe that if we are serious about transformation in education, then it must start with proper compensation of our teachers. And I say this because I grew up in a house where my mother was a teacher, and she sent me to school on a teacher's salary from infant school right to UWI. My brother is also a teacher, and my sister is also a teacher. So I know no other profession but teacherhood. Certainly, I am an avid researcher. I love sports as well, and I love nature. Yeah, and that's all I would say for now about myself.
Thank you very much.
Wonderful. So we now move to our second candidate, and this is Mrs. Suette Bakero. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Colleagues, all good evening. I am Suette Bakero, one of the candidates offering myself to be the next JTA president-elect. Who am I? Who is Suette Bakero? Well, I am a family person. I am the wife of one husband. The mother of 3 children. They are young adults. And I am also an individual who believes that whatever my hands find it to do, I must do it with all my might. And as a result of that, I would have been offering myself as an active member of the Jamaica Teachers Association. I would have served in many capacities. I would have served as DA presidents for 2 DAs, their district association, and the Maypen District Association. I've also served as Clarendon president. I have been to many conferences, would have spoken on many forums on conference the floor. So I am well known in the Jamaica Teachers Association circle. Apart from that, also, I would have been traversing the educational landscape. I have taught in the high school. A matter of fact, I have taught at Kemsil High. I have been into the junior high, sector. I taught at Hayes Primary and Junior High. I also went into the primary and at Yorktown Primary, but I believe that the Lord would have seen it, fit to put me where the foundation ought to be laid. And so at this time, I serve as a team leader principal of the Fogo Road Infant School. So I have been to many places, and the reason you may be saying that I don't stay one place too long, but the truth be told, I believe that I am a valuable teacher, that I have a significant role in 2022. My mandate remains the same. I believe that the teachers, the role that they play is extremely significant, and at this time it would have appeared that it is not being looked upon as valuable. So colleagues all, I want you to ask yourself the question as you get to know me a little bit better. What is your value? What is your value? And last, by no means, the most important thing about me too, and as you may have seen, there are 7 of us. 7 is a very significant number. And I want to believe that because it is 7 of us, that history will be made this year. And I think that you will ensure that that history will be the one where you will select Suette Bakero as JTA President-elect, because why? I am the voice for the teachers.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Good evening to my fellow competitors in this president-elect race. I am Georgia Gowdy Green, a teacher with over 30 years of experience. I have taught at the secondary level at one school, St. James High School, for over 30 years. I've worked from being an ordinary classroom teacher to being a department head of the science department, and now I am currently serving as one of the vice principals. Georgia Gowdy Green. I am the mother of 2 adult girls. Yes. I am also a person who likes to study and to spell. I've been a spelling bee champion for the Mount Peter Primary School in Hanover, and I went back to where I did my spell down in the parish of in the parish of Hanover, that is Lucy to be exact, recently. I remember every single moment that I was there. Okay, so Georgia, as a president-elect candidate, I believe that I've served the Jamaica Teachers Association in many different capacities. I've served as a contact teacher, again, for over 30 years. I have served as a parish president for the parish of St. James. I have served as a parish treasurer. I've been a member of the study circle team, the study circle coordinating committee, and I've also served as a study circle chairman. Today, I serve as one of the trainers in the study circle program. I, like the Jamaica Teachers Association, have been a teacher advocate for my teachers at my school and within the parish. I believe that because I've served at all the different levels, I have what it takes to become your next president. Today, when I walked into to this conference room, I was able to identify at least 21 presidents that I've worked with so far. I've stood, I've learned from them, and I believe that I am capable to do the job that is ahead. During the week of June 17 to 21, I know that you're going to vote, and you'll vote for Georgia Gowdy Green to become your next president-elect. I thank you.
Fulsome teacher family, we have seen The Voice, we have seen Spelling Bee Champ, and now
Eon Mnam, serving as principal at Broadleaf Primary and Infant School in the parish of Manchester, son of the soil of St. Thomas, minister of religion in the Church of God of Prophecy, and a teacher advocate, as everyone would know. I've served as a contact teacher, district president, parish president, national chairman, and chairman of several other committees. The only position in the JTA that I have not served yet is president, and that is why I am vying for the position at this time. Colleagues, advocacy is something that is not developed overnight like salvation. It's something that is processed over time. And to be an advocate, you would have had to be practicing over time and to perfect your craft. At this juncture, the JTA is not looking for a classroom teacher. Neither is it looking for a principal. What is needed at this time is someone who knows the issues, understands the issues, and can articulate the issues. Stay tuned. You will hear more from Eon Mnam. Thank you.
I am Doran Rainford, your JTA President-elect for 2024 to 2025 candidate. And I am from the second city of Montego Bay. I was born and grown in a little part of the city known as Sun Valley Road. I am from a family of teachers. My brother is a teacher. My sister is a teacher. My aunts are teachers. My cousins are teachers. Because we believe that education is a very important weapon that can be used to change this world. And so, as a teacher, it gives me the opportunity to help all other persons and to ensure that all our children become what they ought to be in this society. Now, colleagues, why have I decided to run as your JTA President-elect? I've answered the Macedonian call as a minister of religion, that who the Lord calls, he qualifies. And therefore, I am here at this juncture to answer the cause, to represent the cause of the nation's teachers for better wages, better fringe benefits, and better working conditions. I am a teacher of the Convent of Mercy Academy Alpha, where I teach the subjects chemistry and integrated science. I am married with 2 children, and I'm also someone who's very involved in the community. Colleagues, today I have a master's in human resource development, a degree in pure and applied chemistry, a diploma in education and science, a diploma in financial management and accounting. I'm also a graduate of the National College for Educational Leadership. I also have a certification in negotiation, salary and negotiation. Colleagues, this evening, Doran Rainford is here to represent the cause of all categories of teachers and to ensure that all categories of teachers will cross over. I have been involved in this association at all levels, from contact teacher to parish president, to member of the central executive, and to a member of general council. I have represented the concerns of the island's teachers on all platforms right across the breadth and length of this country, including public demonstrations and, of course, general and annual conferences and delegates meeting. Colleagues, I am here because I have heard the cry. I have responded to the call, and I'm here to represent all categories of teachers to ensure that the teacher's cause is represented and that all categories of teachers are paid their worth and their value. And so, colleagues, when you vote the 17th of June to the 21st of June 2024, vote for a teacher, a classroom teacher who is committed, who is loyal, who is authentic, who is sincere, and who is selfless, and who is here to represent the cause of all the teachers of this nation that I love so much.
Across the length and breadth of Jamaica and my fellow candidates in the president-elect race. As was stated, the name is Jermaine Williams, a proud citizen from the peaceful community of Darliston in the parish of Westmoreland. I live by the mantra, service, leadership, excellence. I believe that all of us were born to make a difference, and we can make a difference in our local communities, one project, one person at a time. I also believe that anything that I do, I must always strive to be the best in it. Also, as a human being, I believe that good, well-thinking Jamaicans should step forward and make a difference and lead in whatever capacity to make a positive difference. My journey started out as a teacher, as a pre-trained teacher at the Maud McLeod High School. After graduating from Frome Technical High School, I wanted to go to sixth form, but financial challenges, it never worked out. Wanted to be an international journalist. My 2 years as a pre-trained teacher, I enjoyed working with the young people, and my colleagues at the time would have encouraged me, so why not get trained? And so I matriculated in the into the Mico University College, and they would say the rest is history. And that's where my journey began. I became very active because I was an extremely reserved individual, and so I got involved in clubs and societies. And I believe that my life is one of service to humanity. My journey in the Jamaica Teachers Association would have started out in the year 2011 when I was elected contact teacher. The following year, PRO for the parish of Westmoreland, was supposed to serve for 3 years. By the time I went to annual general meeting, I was elected president-elect for the parish. The following year, I was president, and now I'm third time president for the parish of Westmoreland. I've always represented my colleagues at Manning School, where I'm a proud teacher for the past 17 years. I would have also represented the parish of Westmoreland, and I believe that is their confidence in me and the work that I would have done over the years why they love to see me leading the parish of Westmoreland. I would have served on several national committees within the Jamaica Teachers Association, making a difference for my colleagues across Jamaica. At this time in history, I would have listened to the call from South Central, the call from Northeast, the call from Southeast, the call from the West, the call for a champion candidate, the call for a champion teacher. And here it is that I'm offering myself for higher service, to sit at the highest table, to represent the interests of teachers across Jamaica. Colleagues, I know you will do the right thing, just like the Israelites' journey into the promised land. Leave your problems to me and let me lead you as your president. Thank you so much.
He is here. It. Do not let it go to waste. All right. So at this time, he has bold and audacious leadership at the top of all of what he is going to be presenting. Please take us through your manifesto, Mr. Malava.
Thank you, Mr. Nash. Well, let me first begin by speaking to why did I decide to run at a time like this. I believe it was Barack Obama who when he was asked why did he decide to run at the time that he did, his response was because of the fierce necessity of now. I believe the fierce necessity of now demands a leader that is as bold as he is audacious. It demands a leader that is well researched, a leader that can articulate the issues, a leader that can leverage whatever research that is out there in the negotiation room. This is a high-stakes election, and I believe that the membership needs the best representation that that is on offer. Interestingly enough, I never thought about running. I have always articulated the issues in various domains, whether it is at General Council, Central Executive, on the floor of Special Conference. But there are obviously persons who believe that I had something to offer with respect to leadership, and they kept coming to me and asking me. I initially said no. I thought long and hard about it, but I remembered being agitated in my spirit because of what had happened to the teachers the last time around. And after much consultation, I decided that I was going to step forward to offer myself for leadership. My manifesto is centered around 6 key areas: tertiary education, professional support and development, school funding and support, special needs and intervention, salaries and conditions, and early childhood, and primary education. One of the first things that I want to zero in a little bit on salaries and conditions. There is a need to better align the salaries of our teachers in keeping with the Ernst & Young report, something that I've been speaking about for a while. And one of the main things that I want to do is to, when we return to the negotiation room, to leverage that report to ensure that our teachers move from band 4 to band 6 in keeping with that recommendation. I believe also, colleagues, that incremental increases in our salary, which has been taken away, certainly for me, that needs to be returned. And well, let me put it this way. The conversion that was done in the last time around needs to be reviewed. And what I'm suggesting is that if a teacher did 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 or 9 years in the service, then when they are going over on the new scale, that is where they ought to be. I also believe that master's allowance, which has been slashed significantly within the context of education, that needs to be reviewed. I believe it needs to be no less than 30% of the midpoint of whatever relevant band there is. Remote inducement allowance, in keeping with the 2021 IDB report on education. That report recommended that remote inducement allowance should be expanded and increased. Instead, we have grandfathered it when the conditions in these schools have not changed. I am saying that it ought not to be grandfathered. It should be reviewed. Other schools should be brought into the fray, because other schools are experiencing the same thing as some schools that are located in deeply remote areas, as well as in volatile communities. I certainly also believe, colleagues, that, okay, thank you. I certainly also believe, colleagues, that one of the things that I'm very keen about is robustly agitating for the remuneration package as it relates to early childhood be reviewed for our for early childhood teachers. One of the things that I'm also very big on is at the primary schools, we only get, the primary school only get somewhere around 2,500 per child in our primary schools. In keeping with the Orlando Patterson report, I am saying that ought to be increased significantly. I'm also saying, and my manifesto has 28 points. There's no way I'm going to go through it tonight. But there are 28 points on the manifesto. I also believe that there ought to, so I'm just highlighting the key points. I also believe that there should be a policy within education where psychometric testing is done on every child before they reach a certain level in the education system. Why? Because more and more autistic students are popping up in our system, and our teachers are operating as if they are discovering these things, as if they are Christopher Columbus. Yeah? And there's no way to respond to this crisis, and I call it a crisis because more and more autistic students are being discovered, and the ministry is yet to respond to it in the way that they ought to. I believe also that diagnostic centers should be set up across the island to treat with these sorts of situations. state-of-the-art diagnostic center, and this should be based on data. I believe, colleagues, that there is a need to amend the Constitution, the Articles of Association within the JTA, to ensure that when it comes on to salaries and conditions of service, every single teacher has a vote and not just the delegates. I believe by doing this, it will go a far way in getting more and more teachers involved in the process. I also believe that the government needs to set up residential centers across the island to treat with students who have displayed significant maladaptive behavior and are uncontrollable, certainly at the high school level. Certainly at the high school level. Certainly at the high school level. So those are some of the things that I want to certainly treat with. I also want to treat with the financing issues in our schools. Certainly from where I sit, many of our schools are not properly funded, and there's a need for that to be addressed in keeping, again, with the Orlando Patterson report. Because a former JTA president said it well, the working conditions of the teacher is the learning condition of the child. And there's a need to treat with that. The government has borrowed 133 million US to build STEM schools across this island. When in all honesty, there isn't a space constraint within our education system. But I tell you what is happening in our education system. There are serious infrastructural challenges. There are many schools that have poor infrastructure. At the primary school level, for example, you still find students sharing a desk. They are at the primary school, blackboards still separating the classrooms. Why is it that within the context of the 21st century, we do not have a smart board in every single classroom? We have some very bright and intelligent chiches in our schools because they go to school every day. All they need is a John Sport bag. Yeah? And that speaks to the poor infrastructural development and maintenance that is there. And many of these schools are unable to because they don't have the funding to treat with that. So those are some of the things that I also want to speak to. I certainly am keen to help to reposition the JTA as leaders, as pioneers within the educational landscape. And I think a key part of that is advocacy and how we go about advocacy. I also believe that we need to partner with the private sector and have dialogue with the private sector for two main reasons. One, our output is their input. That is one. And secondly, they are they are a very powerful lobby group inside Jamaica, and we need to sit with them and get them to understand where we are coming from so that they can help to lend their voice to our cause. One of the things that I also believe in, colleagues, is better surgical health benefits for our teachers. I also believe that there is a need for housing solutions in Jamaica. And what I am proposing is that we collaborate with some of the other unions out there, for example, the Police Federation and the Nurses Association. Let us approach the Prime Minister, who has portfolio responsibility over the NHT, and ask that houses be built across the island for our teachers, and fix the cost. So if the unit cost to educate, not the unit cost, if the unit cost for a house, to build a house, is $5 million, then the markup should not be more than 20%. And there is precedence for this, because on Spanish Town Road, you'll find some 2- and 3-story apartment complexes that were built in the last decade, or less than about 8 years ago. At that time, those units cost about $3.5 million. And what I can also say is that the delinquency rate is very high with respect to those units. And as such, I believe that the government can do this and fix the costs so that teachers can afford a home. And those are the things that I would say right now. As I said before, there are 28 points on the manifesto. Time is not going to permit me to really go through all of them, but those are some key points. What I will end by saying, though, is that whilst the 28 points on the manifesto is a very ambitious initiative, certainly for me, salaries and conditions of service will certainly attract my attention. Maslow's hierarchy of needs come before Bloom's taxonomy. And finally, there is no country that has a world-class education system that does not pay their teachers a salary that will attract and retain the best and brightest minds that the country has to offer. And any notion about transformation in Jamaica must begin with the conversation as to how it is that we properly compensate our teachers. Thank you very much.
With her manifesto.
Colleagues, all, my manifesto is not a lengthy one. I believe that having a year to sit in the seat and to carry out or advocate for things pertaining to the teachers, that I will have to be realistic while aiming for the best. If you are one that reads the most published book in the world, you would have known that if you take to when this world was created, that is 7 days that all of these things were done. And 365 days in the year, I can only do so much and no more. So what are the few things? Few things. As I would have said prior, I ran in 2022, and the things that I spoke to are things that I'm passionate about, because these things would have been garnered from off the floor, having conversation with my colleagues, as I would have traversed as a membership chair for many years and been on the membership committee. And so the few things that I have, of course, salaries is big up high on the list. And because I'm a family person and would have struggled for quite some years with 3 children in school and then at the university, you can understand why I will speak to as it relates to scholarship. And now that I am in the early childhood sector, you would also, understand too why I would speak to some things pertaining to that. And since I am now a team leader, a principal, because this is the highest promotion in the education sector, and I encourage all my colleagues, if this opportunity presents itself, do not turn it down. The fact that you are considered is indicative that you are valued. You are valuable in somebody's eyes, and they are saying, we want you to lead this institution. And so you'll understand then why I would also speak to things as it relates to the accountable officer life being a little easier. Also, having studied, work and study, and at the end of the day, having spent up millions of dollars, and then you would have been refunded a little twopence, you can also understand why I would be treating with issue pertaining to that as well. And so those are a few things. And another thing too, as it relates to communication, allowing our members of the Jamaica Teachers Association to be au fait with all the benefits that are here, to be in the known as to what you, my colleagues, the things that you can access. The reason why sometimes you speak as you do is simple, because you just do not know. And so the thing as it relates to communication and improving the communication channel in the Jamaica Teachers Association is really to let you be informed, so that when you are speaking, you will know where to go access different things. So, what are they? I must hasten to say, though, that as I observe the happenings in the education sector, and as I observe the happenings in even my association, Jamaica Teachers Association, I must say, when I ran in 2022, I did have some items on my manifesto, and do you want to know that 2 of them have already been realized? I'm talking about 2022. Yes, I spoke about paternity leave, and guess what? That has been accomplished. I spoke about improved remuneration for early childhood practitioners, and guess what? That was also done. But you know, this year also, as I put out my desire for you, my colleagues, I also recognize that some of the things are already being done. Take Jamaica Teachers Association. You would have seen that tagline going around that says register, get register, get register. Do you know that having been registered, you have first-hand access to information? You don't even have to wait on a contact teacher to be telling you every and anything. So I'm saying that number item on my manifesto, it has been achieved. All I would need to do is to continue to give the voice to that. As it relates to one that I have, and this comes as a result of being a principal. Because not until you're in a seat can you really be au fait with what really goes on there. And having become a principal in a small school where I do not have a secretary, I do not have a bursar, I do not have a maintenance personnel, I've learned to do all of these things, I have recognized that, listen man, principals in small schools, they need a clerical clerk. And guess what? I was at a QEC meeting only to hear it being announced that small schools will be getting this post. What a God. I am saying my voice, the things that I'm putting on the table, that persons are listening, they are taking note. Another thing, when it comes on to one that I have is tax return. You know, when I put that on it, I was thinking, the reason why I put it on it is because 2 of my children, they did the work and study program, so they went abroad. And when they came back, they were collecting tax return. No. And I mean, good little money when you change out. And I mean, I'm saying no. I am an educator. At this point, I would have been a principal. I would have worked 29 years as a teacher. You know our income tax. You know the high taxes that we are paying. And when I put that thing on, tax return, I never hear anything like that being said here in Jamaica. But lo and behold, when Dr. Nigel Clark presented his report, he had a line item that spoke to tax reverse credit. And I was glued to the TV because I said, yes, that man understands the principle that I was coming from. And so I know that idea that was planted in my head, that it was possible. Because even before you, my colleagues, were aware of this item that is on my manifesto, Dr. Nigel Clark had already educated the nation that this is something that can be done, because $20,000, you have to apply for it, of course, for those who are receiving 3 million and below. By now, of course, teachers, we don't qualify because you are now getting 3 million. So I'm saying tax return and the same principle, because it is a principle thing, the same principle that Dr. Nigel had used for those working 3 millions under is the same principle that can be applied to those teachers who are earning 3 million. It can be in bond. And so that is a line item. As I spoke about scholarship, I know what it is like to have children, all 3 of them. I am an educator in this system for umpteen of years. Now a principal, yet struggling. I am a teacher and finding it difficult to send my children to tertiary level education. I am saying, come on, Dr. Nigel, I listen to you. Your turning point came when your teacher took you after school and taught you math every day. You are now a financial expertise. You are the minister of finance, and you fall in love with math because of a teacher, the role that teacher would have played in your life. I am saying teachers have given their all in educating the nation's children. It is full time for us, for our children, to be going to whichever university here in Jamaica, and all that should be required of us is just sending the paperwork, sending the documentation, so that the tuition payment can be turned over to the respective universities. I ain't going to tell you what percentage of that you can do, but I'm saying scholarship for teachers' children is something that should be put on the plate and remain there. Salary is a big thing. Look at our Prime Minister. 28 point what million. Come on. Everybody, people working the work for money. Teachers need to get a salary that if they want to buy a house without going to housing trusts, they should be able to do that. And I'm not even sure if you, my colleagues, my teacher, you are au fait with the changes as it relates to acquiring funding from the National Housing Trust. I don't even think you recognize, or you know. Do you know that when you approach your housing trust now today, that they're going to be sending you to go and get, financing from banks, and you have to be turned down by 2 banks in order for them to consider you? Yes, the landscape has changed. And so, salary is big on my agenda. If the Prime Minister could move from where he has moved to 28 point whatever million in a year, why is it that teachers, you, my colleague, and let me listen, I'm a principal, I am not so bad off. And that is why I say I am the voice for the teachers. The voice for the teachers. Because you have merely moved from 1.6 to 3 million. Before you move, you and the counselor, the politician counselor, you were basically on the same level. They were at 1.7 million and you were at 1.6 something or 1.5 something. Now they've gone all the way up to 5.7 million and you just remain at 3.3 million. I mean, what is your value? What is your value? I am passionate about this because as a principal, I know the value of my teachers. If my teachers do not show up, the children foundation would not be properly laid. The programs and policies in the school, they are implemented by the footmen, and you are the footmen. I am saying, when it comes to voting, this is one of, you need to vote to demonstrate that you know your value. Your value is 100% of market value. And I'm not going to tell you what market value is because Dr. Clark, he knows that better than me. Because when you look at their salary, it is pegged in line with other countries. But when it comes to you, my teachers, you, my colleagues, when you jump over to our sister country. So, a matter of fact, one of the reading, it tells you that our Prime Minister's salary is much better than some of our sister island. Yet their teachers are better paid than you. Each month, depending on where. I was talking to a teacher yesterday, and she said, Miss Suzette, $1,500 me get a month time. I couldn't understand her at first. Suzette, you want me to tell you the change so me can tell you the sense. 1,500, and she tell me the sense. She said, Suzette, I was at Cayman because I gave her a figure. And she said, no, Suzette, that's not the figure. I was getting for my monthly salary over 5,000 US dollars. Come on. Come on. What is their value? And so when I ask for 100%, I know the value. I know your significance. I know it. So I ask for big. Another thing that I have on it speaks to the tuition 50%. 50%. They have a ceiling. 500,000, that needs to go. That needs to go. Because again, in the Caribbean island, you have your sister islands that are giving 100 refund for a first degree, 50% refund for a master's, and another giving 75% refund for a first degree. Come on. Come on. What is the issue here in Jamaica? What is the problem? Why are we treating our teachers like this? I am saying to you, these are little things. These are not big things. But I believe that they are achievable because the principle for them to be realized, those principles are already there. The principle of scholarship, using the same one that is used for past children, it is already there. The alignment of teachers' salary moving accordingly, it is already there. Because if it happens for the politicians, it ought to happen for us. It ought to happen for you. And so when you vote, don't vote so much because you like somebody or because the person speaks well. But vote to send a message. Vote because you know your value. And your value is 100% of the market. Nobody is going to talk like that. No, none of my colleagues will talk like that. Because they don't believe in that. But okay. I have been carrying this from 2022. And I have not changed course. I have stuck to it because I believe that it's achievable. Because if other countries can do it, why not Jamaica? And not all of us want to go.
Suette.
Want to stay.
Thank you so much, Suette Bakero. Very passionate, very passionate. And there's so much more that, she could have said. But we are grateful that, of course, she has been able to speak, as much as she has spoken. And we're going to be coming back to the other candidates in just a while. Right here, as we come to you live out of Kingston, Jamaica, for the pre-debate for all of these 7 candidates, the JTA President-elect candidates 2024. We are moving now to hear from who, Ms. McDonald?
We're now going to be hearing from Mrs. Georgia Gowdy Green.
Colleagues, good evening again. Good evening to everyone across Jamaica. Georgia Green, this afternoon, I want to present to you my manifesto. Yes. When you elect me as your president-elect, okay, what will I do for you, teachers? What do you want me to do for you? 1, I intend to lobby this government to ensure that there is an improvement in salaries and conditions of service for all teachers throughout Jamaica. I believe with the last salary restructuring, our teachers were very dissatisfied. We were dissatisfied, and we are still dissatisfied with what we received. The salary package, we believe, was too low. Teachers who have been in the system for over 10 years, I believe that you should have been placed at point 6 on the band that you were placed. Trained graduates were placed at band 4. And I believe that for you to see a marked increase in salary, you should have been placed at band 6, at point 6, sorry. Anything below that, and which no one went above band 4, it means that we are not getting anything much. Teachers have worked hard, and they should be paid for their work and their worth. So we need a competitive rate. I believe that we should ensure that teachers in the system are paid like other professionals requiring similar qualifications and experience. I also believe that our teachers should be paid when there's an increase in the market, so they should be paid at market value. Our teachers should be paid as there's an increase in cost of living and increase in the marketplace, their salaries should move along that line also. Our teachers who are masters, who have gained their masters and doctoral degrees, I believe that at least 2 increments should be paid to our teachers. Nothing less than that. 2 or more, but there should be an incremental increase based on years of experience, scope of work, and their qualifications. And this is not happening anymore. Teachers should also be given an increase in NHT benefits. Currently, the NHT benefit for a house on the open market is $7.5 million. And I will continue to say that is not enough. There's nowhere in the marketplace that you can get a house for $7.5 million. And you're told that you should go to some other lending institution to get money to borrow and to join with what NHC has given you. Teachers, you don't know the interest rate. I was told that some lending institutions are giving interest rate up to 11% now. That is so taxing on the pockets of our teachers who are already burdened with other responsibilities. So I believe that our teachers should be given the market value, monies to match the market value of the houses on the market. So if a house is for $20 million I honestly believe that the NHT should give that amount of money to a teacher to purchase a home, and then the person will pay it back at a low interest rate. I also believe that our government should ensure that low-income houses are built in all the parishes across Jamaica, affordable houses for teachers. We don't want to be living in St. James and having to travel all the way to St. Anne to purchase a house, and then travel from St. Anne, wherever the housing scheme is put up, to St. James to work. We don't want to be living in Westmoreland and have to travel to Trelawney to purchase a home, and then have to travel back and forth to and from work. It is costly on our pockets. It's costly for car repairs and motor vehicle parts. It is costly. It's a lot of time that is wasted in traffic each day. And so I believe that affordable houses should be built in all parishes, and teachers be given some of these houses in order for them to relocate or to stay in those parishes where they work. I also believe that the pension benefits for teachers who are retiring should be increased. When I speak about pension benefits, I'm referring to the health insurance and the pensions that they are paid. I was informed by a pensioner that when she retired, her Sagicor card was taken from her, and she now was given another card with less than what she originally had when she was in the profession. How do you think about doing such a thing when our teachers have toiled for this nation? They have worked hard. They have given us their best of their youthful years. And now that they're older, yes, with a lot of aches and pains, medical conditions, arthritis, diabetes, hypertension, and some even with cancer, costly bills to be paid. And yet still their medical insurance is not up there. They cannot afford what they really want to pay for. I believe that we need to look at what we are doing to our pensioners, because they have served the nation and the nation's children, and they should be taken care of. When we look at health insurance for our teachers, that health insurance that we are given with the full house plan is not enough. After purchasing 1 or 2 pairs of glasses, when you have visited the optician or the ophthalmologist, you will realize that in no time the plan is finished. When you think about the cost of medication, the cost of doing tests, different lab tests, and so on. When you think about the cost of screening and so on, the plan is just not enough. I believe that the government should ensure that the plan that we are given match the market value of what is taking place, the cost of living, match what is taking place with cost of living and what is taking place in the marketplace. I believe also that our teachers in our schools should be given internet connectivity. All schools should have proper internet connectivity. Today, as I sat and listened to what is happening with regards to trend, I realized that some schools, yes, some schools have internet, but not all schools. We were promised internet connectivity during the pandemic. Many children suffered. We needed to be online for research purposes. Students need internet for research. Years gone by, when a teacher turned up at a school, he or she was given a pieces of chalk, chalkboard, duster, eraser, and ruler. In today's digital age, digital literacy is important. We need to teach the students digital literacy. We need to teach them research skills. We need to ensure that we have adequate internet. We're talking about e-portfolio and we're talking about e-books. How do we access these e-books if when we get to school there's no internet connectivity to do our work? The government should ensure that the schools are properly serviced with internet connectivity. I also believe that there should be transport allowances given to our teachers. It should be a part of their salary. Yes, place it in the salaries. And so that the teachers who have to travel for great distances, they would have had something in their pocket to cushion the effect of inflation as they traverse this land to go and do their duties. Duty concession is something else that I really believe that should be given to our teachers. And if we're unable to give it to all teachers, at least the senior teachers should be given duty concession to purchase their cars, motor vehicles, or whatever they want to purchase. But this would make their life more easier for transporting themselves to and from work. And I think that they deserve it. How can you be paid so much money as a counselor, as other members in the public domain, at the higher level in your organization? You are entitled to duty concessions and you have a very good pay package. And yet some of the teachers, the classroom teachers, the trained graduates, look at what they have been given and they cannot afford to purchase a motor vehicle or to own their own motor vehicles. This matter should be taken care of. In my manifesto, I also believe that there should be training by the Jamaica Teachers Association, ensure that all our colleagues are trained in industrial relations. And this is very important to us. Also, I believe that part of my manifesto is for us to have a greater partnership with public sector companies, private sector companies, and our teachers will be able to be given more incentives and more incentives, yes, and they will have more discounts as they go out to purchase items. There are many other things that I have in my manifesto. Another thing that I have there is a national standard curriculum for skilled-based training for school leavers. Yes, this should be developed. After it is developed, we can train them in digital literacy, entrepreneurship, coding, communication skills, critical thinking, and so on. After this curriculum is developed, then we need to train our teachers for this skill-based learning. And we are to make sure that we partner with industries for job placement, for mentorship, and for apprenticeship program for our students. At the end of it all, our students should be given a school leaver certificate, a certification that will be recognized by all industry players across the length and breadth of Jamaica. As I sit and look at what we as teachers are getting, I continue to say again, salaries is the most important thing. And I believe that we should ensure that our teachers are paid for what they are worth and work. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. What an evening it has been. For us all here this evening, we're going to we're going to be going to a break in just a while. But Max McDonald, this is the first time that you are being given this kind of baptism. Right.
Absolutely.
And you've been through 1, you've been through 2, you've been through three of the candidates so far. You have not heard from at least 4 others.
Yes.
There is a gentleman
Yes.
that we are going to be hearing from in just a while. He is still he's nearby us,
Yes.
but we're going to be hearing from him in just a while. But how has it been for you so far?
Well, I can tell you that as a student of human resource development,
Yes.
I'm hearing quite a lot of what I've been taught. So I'm hearing compensation issues, I'm hearing the call for livable wages, I'm hearing retention strategies, I'm hearing cost of living adjustments. So I'm literally in the classroom hearing these president-elect persons, lobby, and I can hear the passion. I hear the call for transformation. I hear the realistic calls. I have really been, educated,
Yes.
and, it's really reinforcing some of what I have been taught. So it's really making my experience even more.
And I'm
fulfilling.
sure that some of the persons who are in your field of work
Yes.
are also watching to see what's happening in the JTA.
Yes, absolutely. So, even as you celebrate 60 years this year, I mean, it's really an awesome task. It's really an awesome task that you have taken on to represent the teacher and all of what, their family. I heard one president-elect spoke about how the impact of the family. And so, it's really important, the work that you're doing, and for these aspirants to be speaking in such a manner, it speaks to how safe, the future. Your theme for this year says preserving the legacy.
Yes.
Remaining relevant for the future. So
That's
I can
right.
see that the future has really been kept relevant.
Yes,
Through these
7
candidates.
persons are in the race this year. 7 persons.
Yes.
And this is one of the largest set of list of candidates that we've had since we have been on this and doing this kind of broadcast. We're providing this opportunity for them to be able to present their platform. And I recognize that some have 20 odd,
Yes.
and some have
Manifestos are strong.
strong, and with some very good ideas in there. We're going to be coming to them in just a while, but there's a gentleman that we had missed at the
Yes,
start,
yes.
and we're going to be giving him the opportunity at this time to make a presentation of introducing himself. He's on camera right now,
Yes.
and the world is seeing him.
Yes.
He goes by the name O'Keefe Saunders, Terrian O'Keefe Saunders, and he's now here with us. Why is it that you have entered the race, and who are you really? Talk to that camera over there for me, please.
Okay.
Good evening.
Good evening, colleagues. I am O'Keefe Saunders, a classroom teacher at the Donald Quarry High School in Kingston. I was born in Chapperton, Clarendon, the 6th of January, 1973. I am married with 4 kids, 3 boys, 1 girl.
Keep going.
3 boys, 1 girl. I chose to be a part of this, to run as president of the Jamaica Teachers Association, because teachers need representation. Teachers need someone who will talk for them, speak up for them, because they need a strong voice. And I'm in this profession from September 1995, and I'm a member of the JTA from that time until now. And I think that we need people to represent the teachers as how they are to be represented. When we look at the salaries and the condition that we are working in, we need someone with a strong voice to defend the teachers of Jamaica. And that's why I choose to represent the teachers of Jamaica.
So, Mr. Saunders, take us through at this time in terms of you've been to the schools, etc. And I'm told that you're from Clarendon.
Yes, I'm from Clarendon.
And you have been journeying through the length and breadth of Jamaica. Just give us a minute or two in terms of where you have been so far.
Well, I've been in Clarendon. Why I'm late, I'm coming from Frankfield, Edwin Allen, my old alma mater. And I'm getting good response in Clarendon. And I also been to St. Elizabeth, Manchester, St. Catherine, Hanover, Westmoreland, St. Thomas, Portland, and St. Mary. I haven't been to Trelawney or St. Anne's yet.
Well, you will get the chance to be doing all of that as the JTA presents its annual meetings. The annual general meetings are taking place across the island during the course of this week, leading up to the 17th to the 21st of June, when during that course of the week, the voting will be taking place in the schools, within the district associations and within the parishes. But we're going to take a break now and come back to all of the candidates that are here with us this evening. We have 4 more to hear from, or 3, I think, to hear from. Am I getting the numbers right, Ms. McDonald? We heard from 3 already, and 4 more to go. So there's 7 of them, right? So we're going to take a quick break so that the members can get stretch their legs a little bit and refresh, and come back in the second part of the program where the others will continue with their manifesto items. But just to let you know that we are on Instagram Live as well at this time. We are on YouTube at Jamaica Teachers Association, and we are on Facebook Live as well. All right. And so we are encouraging you to continue to watch and to give your comments. Those of you who want to ask a question of the candidates, please ensure that you put them into the chat so that we can also bring that up to the members in just a while. 2 things that I'd like to say now before we take the break. One is that on Sunday, come Sunday, there will be something very special. What's that?
That's the 60th anniversary special.
Yes, indeed. We're going to be having a supplement coming out in the Gleaner on Sunday. Long-awaited supplement from the Jamaica Teachers Association. It has a lot of historical information in there and information that you can utilize as you move forward. It's 60 years. Yes. And therefore, some of the things that the JTA would have done over the years would have been captured in this document. Get your copy of the Gleaner on Sunday, inside of the Sunday Gleaner of what date is that going to be?
On Sunday?
Yes.
Oh dear, I'm not even sure.
The 9th of June.
9th of June.
9th of June
Absolutely.
Is going to be, all right? And we were telling you too that preceding that on tomorrow, yes. That's the 7th of June and
yes,
the 8th of June, we are going to be having the JTA Sagicor 39th staging of the National Athletic Championship. Please ensure that you take your families out on both days.
Support your parish.
Of course. It's a minimum $300 for entry on each day. Yes. Right? And therefore, we are saying to you, that's a treat for anyone to be a part of. So, my friends, take heed. Take the information and take your family out to the National Stadium. Let's go to this break right now. We give the candidates who have been sitting a little bit of about 2 or 3 minutes, and they will return.
So catch me, I must still dance, make it dance, must still dance, so catch it, dance, still dance, so catch it. Oh, flames rock, wood that, you're too bad, so catch it. You're looking for a place to feel safe and secure, yeah. Tip got you covered for sure. With the best deals that you can't ignore, yeah. Tip got you covered for sure. You want savings, insurance and loans with the best interest rates. Check them now, a great service awaits. Tip provide credit facilities, sickness, accidents, that benefits. Make sure you join with Tip today. Do it quick and don't delay. Whether you live at Kingston, Mandeville, St. Ann, Mobay, join with Tip today. You're looking for a place to feel safe and secure, yeah. Tip got you covered for sure. With the best deals that you can't ignore, yeah. Tip got you covered for sure, yeah. Serving you is our pleasure.
With the JTA Cooperative Credit Union, building with your savings plan, buying your first car or higher education, financing for your very first home, teaching while you learn to grow. Look how far you've come, building your world with the JTA Cooperative Credit
Helping more teachers build their world. The JTA Cooperative Credit Union, serving our members, impacting lives positively.
Look how far you've come, building your world with the JTA Cooperative Credit Union. Building with your savings plan, buying your first car or higher education, financing for your very first home, teaching while you learn to grow. Look how far you've come, building your world with the JTA Cooperative Credit
Helping more teachers build their world.
You're looking for a place to feel safe and secure, yeah. Tip got you covered for sure. With the best deals that you can't ignore, yeah. Tip got you covered for sure. You want savings, insurance and loans with the best interest rates? Check them now, a great service awaits. Tip provide credit facilities, sickness, accidents, that benefits. Make sure you join with Tip today. Do it quick and don't delay. Whether you live at Kingston, Mandeville, St. Ann, Mobay, join with Tip today. You're looking for a place to feel safe and secure, yeah. Tip got you covered for sure. With the best deals that you can't ignore, yeah. Tip got you covered for sure, yeah. Serving you is our pleasure. You're looking for a place to feel safe and secure, yeah. Tip got you covered for sure. With the best deals that you can't ignore, yeah. Tip got you covered for sure. You want savings, insurance and loans with the best interest rates? Check them now, a great service awaits. Tip provide credit facilities, sickness, accidents, that benefits. Make sure you join with Tip today. Do it quick and don't delay. Whether you live at Kingston, Mandeville, St. Ann, Mobay, join with Tip today. You're looking for a place to feel safe and secure, yeah. Tip got you covered for sure. With the best deals that you can't ignore, yeah. Tip got you covered for sure, yeah. Serving you is our pleasure. You're looking for a place to feel safe and secure, yeah. Tip got you covered for sure. With the best deals that you can't ignore, yeah. Tip got you covered for sure. You want savings, insurance and loans with the best interest rates? Check them now, a great service awaits. Tip provide credit facilities, sickness, accidents, that benefits. Make sure you join with Tip today. Do it quick and don't delay. Whether you live at Kingston, Mandeville, St. Ann, Mobay, join with Tip today. You're looking for a place to feel safe and secure, yeah. Tip got you covered for sure. With the best deals that you can't ignore, yeah. Tip got you covered for sure, yeah. Serving you is our pleasure. You're looking for a place to feel safe and secure, yeah. Tip got you covered for sure. With the best deals that you can't ignore, yeah. Tip got you covered for sure. You want savings, insurance and loans with the best interest rates? Check them now, a great service awaits. Tip provide credit facilities, sickness, accidents, that benefits. Make sure you join with Tip today. Do it quick and don't delay. Whether you live at Kingston, Mandeville, St. Ann, Mobay, join with Tip today. You're looking for a place to feel safe and secure, yeah. Tip got you covered for sure. With the best deals that you can't ignore, yeah. Tip got you covered for sure, yeah. Serving you is our pleasure. You're looking for a place to feel safe and secure, yeah. Tip got you covered for sure. With the best deals that you can't ignore, yeah. Tip got you covered for sure. You want savings, insurance and loans with the best interest rates? Check them now, a great service awaits. Tip provide credit facilities, sickness, accidents, that benefits. Make sure you join with Tip today. Do it quick and so catch me, I must still dance, me catch it, dance, me still dance, so catch it, dance, me still dance, so catch it. so catchy. Oh, flames rock. Ooh, that you're too bad. So catchy, cause so catch me. I must still dance, me catchy dance, me still dance, so catchy dance, me still dance, so catchy. Oh, flames rock. Ooh, that you're too bad. So catchy, cause so catch me. I must still dance, me catchy dance, me still dance, so catchy dance, me still dance, so catchy. Oh, flames rock. Ooh, that you're too bad. So catchy, cause so catch me. I must still dance, me catchy dance, me still dance, so catchy dance, me still dance, so catchy. Oh, flames rock. Ooh, that you're too bad. So catchy, cause so catch me. I must still dance, me catchy dance, me still dance, so catchy dance, me still dance, so catchy. Oh, flames rock. Ooh, that you're too bad. So catchy, cause so catch me. I must still dance, me catchy dance, me still dance, so catchy dance, me still dance, so catchy. Oh, flames rock. Ooh, that you're too bad. So catchy, cause so catch me. I must still dance, me catchy dance, me still dance, so catchy dance, me still dance, so catchy. Oh, flames rock. Ooh, that you're too bad. So catchy, cause so catch me. I must still dance, me catchy dance, me still dance, so catchy dance, me still dance, so catchy. Oh, flames rock. Ooh, that you're too bad. So catchy, cause so catch me. I must still dance, me catchy dance, me still dance, so catchy dance, me still dance, so catchy. Oh, flames rock. Ooh, that you're too bad. So catchy, cause so catch me. I must still dance, me catchy dance, me still dance, so catchy dance, me still dance, so catchy.
Our candidates are raring to go. So now we'll move to Mr. Anthony McNamee. Let's hear your manifesto, Mr. McNamee.
Thank you so much. And listening to the presentations, it more dawns on me that institutional knowledge is of utmost importance. My manifesto, we have quite a few ideas, but I have at the end of the day, we have to be realistic about what it is that we can achieve within a particular time. And as a minister of religion, I don't believe in telling lies. I believe in presenting the truth, the facts, and let the teachers decide what are facts. So my goals are very smart, specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. As a classroom teacher, that's how I practiced it. And that is how I believe I should practice it going forward. And so, looking forward, we have to go back to the negotiating table to ensure that all anomalies within the last negotiation becomes fixed. In 2008, a grave anomaly was made where primary principals of grade 1 primary schools were receiving less money than those senior teachers in high schools and in primary schools too. And that was a grave injustice on the system. And it took us quite a few years to get that settled. And so now that we have identified the anomalies in the system, we can get them settled. And so going back to the drawing board, we are aware of the Ernst & Young study, which was published prior to the negotiations. The team was privy to the information. The study was done for all public sector workers. And of course, no public sector worker got what was recommended, because all that is in the study was recommended. In fact, the study was predicated on different percentile. And so more research needs to be done on the presenters, because the study was predicated on different percentile. I think what we are seeing is what we got is a 40%, 40 to 50% of what was really there. So we have different percentile that the study was predicated on. That said, going back to the drawing board, we will have to ensure that persons with a master's degree be paid for the study, be paid for what they are worth. It cannot be that as a teaching profession, you are leading the education sector and you get you obtain a master's degree and you receive few increments for the masters. It shows that the system is not really appreciative of higher studies, because higher studies can only benefit the system. And so I believe it's opportune time for us to have a master's scale. When we entered the profession with a diploma, we had the bachelor scale. Persons were real enthused to go and study because they would have seen the marked difference in money between the diploma and the bachelor's. And now I believe the entry level is now the bachelor's. So we must have a master's scale. There are jurisdictions that has the master's scale. If you check Georgia right now, the amount that they are paying for masters, I mean, it's a whole chunk of money, because they are trying to attract and retain the brighter minds in education for them to get a better society, because any country that is serious about growth and development of their society has to spend a lot on education. And presently Jamaica spends quite a small amount, 5.something% on of our budget on education, and that is really very small compared to other counterparts where they compare us with in terms of output. And so if the other countries have the massive input and we have the minimal input, we can't be compared on the output, because what you put in is really what you take out. And so if we are serious about education, we definitely have to put more into education. So all anomalies, which is the classroom teacher's salary, which we know for a fact that is really an issue. It is difficult for a teacher to survive in Jamaica now, as inflation eats out almost every penny, left, right, and center. So going back to the drawing board, we have to be realistic. We can't go back with something that the minister already knows. We have to get our team together, number one. Our team needs to gel. The team, after it is elected at General Council, the chairman is selected by the president, then the other interest groups name their personnel to the team. The team should get the requisite training in 21st century negotiating standards. We also will need some external support. It is impossible to continue to do the same thing and expect a different result. So we have to ensure that we get the team gelled, and we also have to ensure that we get the team exposed to all the relevant studies, the Pattison report, the Ernst & Young's, every report that is available. We get to comb those reports that we can go back well informed as a team. Colleagues, the next thing that I want to talk about, I am a family man. And of course, as a family man, I know it's difficult with the health as teachers are dropping left, right, and center. Right now, based on what is happening in our society as it relates to education, our work environment is more stressful than 5-10 years ago. So we have enough data to present to government that it is important at this point to improve the healthcare benefits to reflect the realities of the market so that our teachers can access better health care. Of course, housing is also a major issue. You know, if you own a house, you would probably consider, you'd think twice when you're talking about migrating. And so I believe we can approach the government with a sensible plan, a rent-to-own facility where the teacher gets the house, the teacher pays a mortgage, a part of that goes towards the closing cost. When it reaches the closing cost, the teacher now begins to pay a mortgage and the teacher owns the house. I think that's an excellent retention strategy for our teachers. We cannot continue to beat the dollar. There are other benefits that teachers need. We do not have any perk, no, as it relates to educate. There is no perk in teaching to attract anybody. Years gone by, we used to be able to not pay pension. No, we are contributing to our pension. That was the only perk, I think, that we had. And now it's taken away. So therefore, we have to get some things in the system that, benefits the teachers so that they will want to remain in the profession. In this day and age, the book and software allowance, technology allowance, which was taken away, I believe we have enough evidence to convince any administration that at this juncture, where technology is leading, AI is leading, a technology allowance, which is unique to the teaching profession, can come back on the drawing board so that teachers can benefit. I am talking about real solutions, realistic issues, not pie in the sky things that cannot be achieved. Colleagues, when we look also at the funding in our primary schools, I am a principal of a primary school, 2,500 per year for a child. When you look in the high school, 17,500 plus in some cases. And at the primary school, we are limited. We cannot charge any fee. And if we do charge a fee, we are told we are extortionists. At the high school, they are free at liberty. 25,000, 30,000. How is it that you expect the primary school of larger size in some cases to function with $2,500 per child, and the high school, which is smaller in some cases, to function with 17,500, and they also have the opportunity to charge a fee? That makes absolutely no sense. And that is why, colleagues, our education system has it that I believe maybe it is a system now where they are trying to make up at the secondary level. Some father didn't father their children at an early stage, and so the child is now out of whack, not properly fed. And so at the high school level, now you are trying to do what was not done at the earlier stage. Colleagues, it is time that funding be allocated equitably across the board to give each Jamaican child, each poor people picnic child, a fighting chance in this education sector. Colleagues, at the early childhood level, I hear my colleague talking about those caregivers who have gotten an increase in their salaries. Of course, I would have been on the conference floor, even with the minister, talking about it, because I have them in my school. Presently, we have some in the system that are paid by ECC. 30, 20 something, $40,000 per month. Coming to school as a practitioner. 28 to 30 days for the month. 20 days, sorry, at school for the month, 5 weeks, 4 weeks. And going home with less than $50,000, $40,000, $30,000, colleagues. That is untenable. And you expect the early childhood sector to balloon? You expect the early childhood sector to deliver? Impossible. It cannot happen on a budget like that. We have to change that. And also funding at that level is woefully inadequate. I got an infant department was attached to my school recently. And of course, funding for that department is woefully inadequate. There is absolutely, there is not even a janitor to manage the campus. I know what I'm talking about when I say that in the primary schools, us as principals, grade 1 primary schools, grade 2, we are janitors, we are bursars, we are clerical, we are, some of us, we are guidance counselors, we are psychologists, we are fathers, we are mothers. We take on some roles that the Ministry of Education should fund. And if that happens, then it would leave us time for what we are employed to do, which is instructional supervision. That is woefully lacking in our system. Maybe, colleagues, at this time, the government can introduce a senior teacher for. There is limited scope for upward mobility in the education sector. The master teacher program is like a pie in the sky. Teachers cannot attain it in Jamaica, yet when they go overseas, they get numerous awards and climb to the top as lead teachers in just a few months. While in Jamaica, it is almost impossible to get a master teacher status. We need to rethink some of what we are doing. Colleagues, my manifesto has several other ideas. And so I will not, at this point, share all the ideas that I have because of time constraints. Our physical working condition is terrible. Extremely terrible. I've been to institutions where a teacher doesn't even have a chair to sit on. Untenable situations. Colleagues, Vision 2030 says that we should have a state-of-the-art education sector by 2030. I am proposing to the government that the government gives us a 5-year plan on how it plans to modernize the school system by 2030 to include solar panels. If solar panels are installed in our institution, quite a few institutions have good buildings, air-conditioned, can be installed after. Colleagues, I'm talking about real solutions to our problems. A man who knows the way, a man who goes the way, a man who shows the way, a man who is from the teachers, for the teachers, and with the teachers. Colleagues, you are sensible enough, I'm sure of that, to know when someone is genuine from when persons are trying to piggyback on your back to get where they want to go. Colleagues, be wise. Remember, the 3rd week of June, vote McNamee. Proactive leadership, real solutions to our problems that we have in education. Thank you.
Eon Mnam, negotiate for all anomalies to be fixed within the education sector to the benefit of members. That's goal number 1. And number 20 says, fix the existing anomaly with the fee structure so that every member of the JTA pays the same amount of fees for its membership. 20 points on his manifesto goals if he is elected. We move from Mr. Eon Mnam out of Manchester, Jamaica, and we're heading now to someone out of Kingston, Jamaica. As a matter of fact, she has half of that number of goals. She has put them at a manageable level. Let's hear from this lady, who is from her birthplace was in Montego Bay, St. James, but she is teaching at a school now in Kingston. Doran Rainford.
All right. Good afternoon again, colleagues. My name again is Doran Rainford, and I'm your class candidate who will be ensuring that when I become your president-elect, that all categories of teachers are paid their worth and their value based on their qualifications, based on their core competencies, and based on their abilities. As your president, I will agitate that this government pays all categories of teachers a livable wage, and so that all categories of teachers must cross over. Colleagues, I am here to negotiate on your behalf that our salaries, our fringe benefits, and our working conditions must be improved. Colleagues, when I speak to working conditions, I need to go back to what the Orlando Patterson report spoke about as it relates to the early childhood practitioners. Now, colleagues, less than 7% of the spending that is spent on education goes towards early childhood. When we look and when we compare this, we have about 35% of the spending by government going towards the tertiary sector. Colleagues, I say to this government, when you fix the foundation, then it means that the issues and the problems that are happening at the primary, at the secondary, and even the tertiary level must be fixed. Colleagues, if we don't fix the bottom, then the building must topple down. And so, our early childhood practitioners are asked to make intervention with very, very little resources. And they're asked to nurture your child, my child, our children, so that they can take their places in society. And when they are not able to make the blood out of stone, what we hear is that the teachers are lazy and that they are not doing their job properly. And in order to make interventions, in order to ensure that the inadequacies, in order to ensure that the deficiencies that are actually taken care of and that are actually at that level in the early childhood sector, then it means that the resources must be in place. Colleagues all, when we look at perimeter fencing, in February, I heard about the Bustamante High School where animals were coming onto the premises while the students were training. In April, May, I heard about those same animals destroying the SBA work. Now, all of us, those of you who may not be in the high school, the SBA is actually 20% of the examination grade, the external examination grade. Now we are asking students to redo because the proper perimeter fencing, the working conditions that are needed to ensure that our students perform was not in place. I'm saying to this government, give teachers, give schools, give administration all that they need to ensure that our students perform. Colleagues, those of us who are in the high schools, we are waiting patiently for about 2-3 years for the SBA payment that have been promised to us for marking SBAs. Those of us, not all teachers, not all schools, not all teachers in the various schools have been paid. And so I'm saying that when we fix the working conditions, when we ensure that technology that is needed to ensure that students, that teachers are equipped to make a difference in the lives of their students, then we will see a difference in the education sector. And I'm saying to this government that all categories of teachers, all schools must get the resources that they need in order to ensure that our students, that our children do well. Colleagues, when I speak to fringe benefits, now welfare, teacher welfare is critical. And so, colleagues, too many times we see where teachers, they go through the teaching profession for 30, 40 years when they have retired and they don't own a house. I believe, colleagues, that it's a myth that so many of our teachers cannot own a house. I am saying to this government, as your leader, to ensure that all categories of teachers get access to affordable lands. Now, there was a Karachi situation in just above Mona Heights where lands were being sold to public sector workers for something like $200,000. Colleagues, if we have more of those lands available to our islands teachers who have sacrificed tirelessly for years, then it means that all categories of teachers will feel as if they are being paid their worth and that they are benefiting from this profession. Now, I'm saying to this government, if we are not going to get those affordable lands, then instead of the 26,000 teachers, and we are talking about only 2 or 3 of the housing scheme hosts being put aside for islands teachers, that is not good enough. I am saying to this government, let there be 15 to 20 of those housing schemes right across the country so that teachers will feel as if they are benefiting from a profession that they have contributed for years to the development of the island students. Colleagues, when we speak about transportation, we had the unfortunate incident other day where a teacher, because she was late, ended up taking a taxi and lost her life in the process. I am saying to this government, too many of our islands teachers are not able to own their own cars. I am saying that if you are not going to give us duty-free concessions, I'm saying to this government, have some form of transportation support where buses are provided in every parish that is going to transport teachers to and from work. Colleagues, it can be done. I have seen the civil service where buses are provided to transport them. Why can't buses be provided for our islands teachers? Colleagues, our teachers, our educators, our principals are dropping dead left, right, and center on the job because they are asked to do more. They are stressed out. Their mental health is under attack. And colleagues, when we look at what is happening, I am saying to this government, take care of our mental health. Increase our health benefits. Make available places where our teachers, even our own union, where our teachers can relax. Where they can actually let down their hair. Where they can feel as if they are being paid their worth. Where they feel as if they are valued. I am saying to this government that other fringe benefits, that when we look at retirees, persons who have contributed to this country for 30, 40 years, waiting on their pension benefit for 2, 3 years, and they can't get it. That is not good enough. A letter comes to them almost a year before they go off. Yet, they have to wait so long before they get the little pension. And colleagues, that pension is what? 60% of what they were earning. Colleagues, that amount of money can't pay their bills, can't take care of their families, and can't do anything. I am saying to this government that our pensioners need to be respected. They need to be valued. And the pension benefits must increase. So many of our pensioners, that's the time they have the aches and pains. The health benefit is actually cut into 3. And so my mother, who is a pensioner, only get $12,000. Imagine $12,000 for a year. What can that do? They are getting less than they would have gotten while they were in the profession. I'm saying health benefits need to be improved so that the lifestyle diseases, such as cancer and other diseases that will come their way, they are in a position to take care of themselves. Not all of them, colleagues, have support system, children who will be able to take care of them. I'm saying you cannot have actually given to a profession so long and there's nothing at the end of it for you to get. Colleagues all, when we speak about our salaries, I think about it is basically with disdain the salaries that our teachers are getting. I am saying to this government that pay teachers what they are worth based on their qualifications, based on their core competencies, and based on their skills. Colleagues, the last salary restructuring exercise saw our most experienced teachers and our brightest and best minds, those teachers with masters and doctoral degrees, seeing where all the increments that they would have benefited from being wiped out, and as a result of that they are worse off now than they were before. Colleagues, if we put a money value to it, we are talking about millions or even billions of dollars that teachers in the profession have lost. And these are our brightest and best minds who are leaving our shores, going abroad because of the pay that they are getting. I am saying to this government, give us a package that is respectable, that will be used, that will allow our islands teachers not only to cross over, but to be able to take care of their families, their health, and their bills. Colleagues, the Earns and Young report pointed to a starting salary of about $3 million in 2021 for graduate trained teachers. We fast forward, we are now in 2024, and so many of our teachers, even those with masters, are only getting $3.1 million a year gross. This is an insult to the island's teachers. And that Earns and Young report was used to reclassify all other levels of public sector workers. And we see where our government, our prime minister, actually getting a salary of $28 million. That same report was used to put him there. What about our island's teachers? The bedrock of this country. Don't we know the value of money? Why should we be asked to hold strain year after year when we have studied hard? We have gone to university and we have ensured that we have the qualifications, even more so than some of the same persons who actually got an increase. Colleagues all, the Earns and Young report spoke to the early childhood practitioners that they must be made a priority and that their salaries, their fringe benefits, and their working conditions must be improved. Colleagues, you know that when you are motivated, you will do better. You will perform better. Why is it that the early childhood practitioners continue to be paid minimum wage? And there are those in the basic schools, some of them, who are actually qualified in terms of a degree. And those teachers, there's a quota. And there are teachers in the basic schools that are being paid by ECC, not by the ministry. No, what can minimum wage do? What can $40,000 a month or $50,000 a month do when you are being asked to take care, to nurture the youngest and the more vulnerable children in our society? I am saying to this government, that is an insult. I listened to the budget that was presented, and that same budget, there were things in there that were geared towards ensuring that young people actually go to hard training institute and that they were actually being given transportation and other allowances. When we add up what the early childhood practitioners is going, it is an injustice and it must stop. I am saying to this government, treat all categories of teachers properly. There must be equity in the educational system so that our teachers will be valued. Our teachers will have a livable wage. Our teachers will cross over. All categories of teachers will be paid based on their worth and based on their value and their qualification. Colleagues, how am I going to do this? There is a need to ensure that all categories of teachers are empowered. By being empowered, there must be one, accountability and good governance. And so, accountability and good governance take place in the schools, in the JTA, so that all categories of teachers will be there and will be able to ensure that not only are they being paid their worth and value, but the education that they get, the feedback they get, the collaboration that they get will ensure that not only will they cross over, but they will be effective managers in the school system. Colleagues, the JTA is our union, and we have to make it work. But in order to make our union work, colleagues, it means that all categories of teachers need to know their worth and value. They must be able to calculate their salaries. You can't be getting money and you don't know how it come by. You can't be getting money and you don't know where the money come from, how the money calculated, what is coming out of your salary. And so, as your president, it is my mandate to ensure that all categories of teachers understand their salary, understand how to calculate their salaries. And so, colleagues, having a diploma in financial management and accounting gives me the ability to crunch the numbers. And so, when my team and the negotiating team goes to the Ministry of Finance and his team, when he says to us that he's going to increase our salaries by such amount of money, then being able to crunch the number, I am able to articulate to him inflation, cost of living, care, this what we are getting is nothing. I'm saying, colleagues, this is a teacher who knows about investing in our human resources, having a master's in human resource development. And therefore, I'm saying to this government, invest in education, invest in our teachers. And so when you do that, our education system must improve. And so when you vote on the 17th to the 21st of June, vote for Doran Rainford as your class candidate in the JTA presidential election. Vote for a teacher, a classroom teacher who is committed, loyal, authentic. She's not going to make up any story. Who is selfless and sincere. A teacher who understands your pain, who knows what you are going through, and who, when she crosses over, you will cross over. Colleagues, when you vote, June 17 to 21, vote for Doran Rainford as your JTA president 2024 to 2025.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So we are going to be remaining in the parish, but we're moving on to Mr. Jermaine Williams. No, Miss Westmoreland, right? Westmoreland, Montego Westmoreland. So, she had 11 points. He has 21. But I noticed that you have at least 6 areas that you would have, created in terms of how you will be sharing your manifesto. So let's hear your manifesto, Mr. Williams.
Greetings, colleagues, and for those who are just joining, the name is Jermaine Williams. Spare me a few minutes to take you along the journey to introduce you to the plans that will be led by me, Team Substance. The first category is remuneration for teachers, and I'll just be sharing a few of my points. The first one has to do with salary. And I want you to know that salary is not the only thing that teachers need, but the salary is also very important so teachers can live a comfortable life to take care of themselves and their family. The recently concluded compensation review would have left some category of educators unhappy. But colleagues, the foundation has been set, and it is for us now to build on the foundation in the upcoming salary negotiation. That was a compensation review, and I can tell you the work is ongoing with our current president, Mr. Leighton Johnson, and it will continue with our president-elect when he takes office, Mr. Mark Smith. And I'm hoping and praying that by the time your president in waiting takes office, some of those nuances would have been concluded, and then I can focus more on the upcoming salary negotiation. My team would want every teacher to be comfortably placed. And I know the recommendation from the Ernst & Young report, and as was stated before, it is a recommendation. The regular classroom teacher is at band 4. And I just want to note that it's not just the classroom teacher we're covering, it's all categories of workers within the education system, including our lecturers, including our principals or vice principals. We want movement for all of them. And so I would want the classroom teacher to move to band 6. But not just the movement, we'd want the band, the amount paid in the band to be increased. Because I believe that teachers are the foundation of our nation, and every challenge that we're faced with in society, they look to the education system, which is led by our teachers, to solve those problems. And I know the COVID-19 pandemic would have been a perfect example. And for us to have a nation, an educated Jamaican, a nation to fulfill 2030 vision, we have to ensure that our teachers are properly compensated. We will never be paid fully for our value, but give us something that we can comfortably live a life. The next item is to lobby the government for an increase in the allowance for master's degree. The education system benefits from teachers who would have upskilled themselves. The classroom, the students benefit. And I believe that the teachers would have spent money to upgrade themselves, that they should also benefit because a master's degree costs money. Also, heart-level trainees within the early childhood, we want them to get greater recognition within the early childhood sector. It is the foundation of our nation, and I believe more attention, we know that the work continues, but I believe more attention should be paid to the foundation. The next category is conditions of service. A lot of time is spent on developing lesson plans for our classes. Education is the only sector where teachers have to take home work with them. I don't know of any other sector. When you leave work, you leave work. When you leave work, you leave work. And I believe that more energy, more effort should be placed in developing the lesson plan bank so teachers can access the lesson plans and make adjustments according to the learning style of their students to suit their particular classroom. And I believe that this is achievable. It has been long in coming, but I believe that more effort, a partnership with the Jamaica Teachers Association and the Ministry of Education, even if we have to employ specialists, educators within subject areas to write the lesson plans, but we have to start somewhere, and I believe more effort should be placed in it. And it's my intention when I become your president to put more effort into that particular area. Colleagues, a lot of work, and unless you're in education, you'll never understand. A lot of work is done to prepare students in terms of their SBA, the science teachers who have to mark labs, a lot of labs, and it's a lot of work. And I believe a lot of money is also paid to CXC. At the moment, we're at $500 per SBA script. My recommendation is $10 US or the equivalent, $1,500 to $1,600 for each SBA script marked by teachers. I would also want the teachers at the communication level marking CAPE IAs to also benefit from this. Many of us, well, all of us in the education system at some point would have come across students that we just cannot relate to. We are not trained in special education, but yet we are expected to address these special needs within our regular classroom. The special education department, more attention should be paid to that particular area. Teachers need to be upskilled where they can better relate to some of those mild learning challenges within our classroom. And many of our students, our special needs students that are not tested yet. I believe that the assessment centers across Jamaica needs to be upskilled with more workers so the wait time is not as long. And of course, the special education units within each parish need to be expanded so they can accommodate more students, because they also have their place in society. And if we are able to reach them and address some of the challenges that they're faced with, then they can also take their rightful place in society and not become a burden to families. As educators, after 5 years, we're entitled to 4 months vacation leave, 10 years, 8 months. If you apply for your vacation leave, and mark your colleagues, this is a benefit that is earned. Earned, literally in some sectors, you're forced to take your vacation leave because your mental health is important and because of the type of work that you do. As educators, sometimes we have to fight to get our vacation leave. I am of the belief, and my team, when I become your president, to lobby for the government, if you fall outside the quota, for teachers to be paid for their earned vacation leave. The system will benefit because these teachers will be still working. They get their monthly salary, but they would have been compensated for their earned vacation leave to take care of them families, a little extra to go to the spa, to take a day in the weekend to go to a hotel, because this is a benefit that they have earned. It's not something that's mandatory, but an option that is available for those who need it at that particular time. You may have done your 5 years and you decide that, you know what, I didn't get it. I don't want to waste any more years. I'll wait until 10 years to get my 8 months vacation leave. Our system has lost, our system is losing, and will continue to lose our seasoned educators. Something has to be done, and I appreciate the effort that is done by the minister. But taking students from the teacher training institutions even before they'd have completed all their courses will not solve the problem. Because these young teachers, of course, them coming into the system with their new knowledge, their creativity, and the energy, the education system needs that. But we also need a balance of our seasoned educators, the ones who will mentor them, the ones who are the subject specialists. Our education system needs that. And I'm recommending, when I become your president, for a retention incentive of $2,000 paid to teachers who would have served the sector for at least 10 years, a one-off payment each year over the next 5 years. Here is a solution. It may not encourage everyone to stay, but it's a solution that's on the table because the teachers continue to leave and we cannot afford to crash our education system. And colleagues, this is a system that has worked in the Bahamas, tried, tested, and proven, and I believe that in Jamaica, it's something that we can also try to keep some of our seasoned educators in Jamaica. Many educators would have upgraded themselves, and because of the salary, they may struggle to repay student loan, etc. I'm recommending that you would have served for at least 10 years and you still have an outstanding payment, that the system could assist you in clearing up those loans, because the system would have benefited from you and you would have decided to stay. And at the end of the day, the teachers are the bedrock of the nation, and this will ease the pressure on our educators. There's a master teacher program, but when I look over the years, the few teachers who would have been given the opportunity to serve in that capacity, I believe that this particular program, more effort needs to be placed in it because we have very outstanding teachers in our education system that could be compensated as a master teacher. I've seen in other sectors, people are constantly being promoted. In our system, if somebody doesn't die, if somebody doesn't retire, then no position will become available, or you may have to move to another school. And so the scope for growth sometimes is limited. And I believe that more teachers within our system are willing and they're qualified And I believe that should be given that opportunity to serve in that capacity. And of course, financially, they will be benefiting. As a matter of fact, I believe that the master teacher system should also be expanded to the tertiary sector, where some of our lecturers can also benefit from that, because the scope for growth is also limited. And I believe that this is a system that we need to also look into. Colleagues, when you take a study leave, you're paid for a year or maybe 2 years. The fact that teachers make the sacrifice to work on the job, to study on the job while working, to make the sacrifice to go to classes on weekends, classes in the evening, and there's a ceiling set of $500,000 and you're entitled to 50%, and you probably can appeal to the government to have that amount increased. I don't know of any degree or master's program that is costing $500,000 and you only get half of that. $250,000 is merely a 1 month of your salary, depending on where you actually serve. I believe that you should be paid 50% of the actual value of the cost of your studies. So if it was $2 million, you should benefit from at least $1 million, which is 50% of the actual value, and not 50% of $500,000, because that really does not make any sense and is not an encouragement for some persons to really upgrade themselves. We'd also want the children of our educators to benefit more, for the tertiary grant to be increased by 10%, because the children of teachers should benefit more. And if they benefit more, then there's less pressure on the teacher, because we have to give so much to the system. Outside of salary, there's 5% of houses that are allotted to teachers. I believe that the allotment should change from 5% to 10%. And I can tell you that the conversation has started, that I visited Hanover's meeting and NHT was there, and I actually had a discussion with the representative there. I believe that the work can start now, and we can fight for that benefit for our teachers, because many of our educators are leaving because they struggle to own a home. They struggle to purchase a piece of land, and it can ease the pressure on our teachers. We're losing many of our educators because they have to be fighting within the classroom, fighting within the schools to save our nation's children. At the same time, they have to be fighting for their own benefits, and this can ease the pressure on our educators. Also, in terms of the Sagicor benefits, healthcare is extremely expensive, and so we would want either the percentage to increase or the benefits that are there to be increased, so teachers can benefit more from Sagicor benefits. And that will, because healthcare in Jamaica is extremely expensive. In terms of professional development, we want that to serve as an encouragement, that teachers would have upgraded themselves an extra increment, having completed small professional development courses. The Jamaica Teaching Council, the Jamaica Teachers Association could have their established courses that once you'd have completed a certain number of hours, you get an extra increment. Because some of our and that will also serve for more teachers to participate in professional development seminars. In terms of security of tenure, and I know a lot of effort is being made in that regard, the government would have introduced an APS program, and many of the teachers are out of that program now, because in terms of security of tenure, they don't benefit from what the regular teacher in the classroom benefits from. And so we want all of those teachers to be permanently employed to get all the benefits and not working on contracts. And I know that the work has started and it will also continue. Colleagues, when I become your president, these are some of my plans and programs. As I travel across Jamaica, I know that there are other needs of the teachers, and we will look into them. I encourage you to vote for Jermaine Williams, your teacher from Manning School in the parish of Westmoreland, the one who has worked in the JTA over the years, the ones who understand, who is living the same experience like yourself, the one who will represent the interests of all educators. And so in June, the third week of June, I encourage you to vote Jermaine Williams, the one who leads with passion, guided by experience. Thank you so much.
All right, so 1, 2, 3,
Yes.
4,
5,
5, 6, and now
the complete number
7. Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
That's where we are.
And I don't know if you're watching what's happening on the chats.
Yes,
You
we
know,
do
man?
have
Yes, man.
quite a few people.
Yes, there are some
Very interesting
fans, you know.
thoughts.
Yes,
and
O'Keefe.
comments being made.
One movement, one mark. Yes, so these are some of the comments. So we now go to Mr. O'Keefe.
Terrian O'Keefe Saunders, Kingston, Jamaica.
Yes, with his manifesto.
Yes, and he has 18 of them. How many is he going to be dealing with this evening?
Okay,
Over to you, Mr. O'Keefe.
Good evening, colleagues. I'm O'Keefe Saunders. And remember, I am the man with the plan, an achievable one. Not a man with a bag of mouth, a man with action. No, housing is one of my baby area because I've done a survey in my own school, and at least 50% of our staff don't own a home. And I'm telling you, colleagues, if any one of us leave this profession, retire from this profession, and don't own a home, dog, nyam, supper. Because there are some of our colleagues who retired, live in shelter on King Street, downtown. So, colleagues, it's something that I'm pushing, that every teacher must own a home. Because what is affecting us that we can't buy our own house is the 10% down payment. And colleagues, you remember the time when you have to pay the 10% even when you're being selected for one of the schemes from the National Housing Trust. I was selected for one in Elshire, and the down payment was $3 million. Myself and my wife are teachers. Where teachers must come from to find $3 million when we are not getting any pay? So I went to a function and I saw the then Prime Minister, Sister P, and I said to her, Madam Prime Minister, could I have a talk with you? She said yes. I said, myself and my wife have been selected for one of the house in Hellshire, and we can't find the down payment. And she said, what do you want me to do for you? I said, I'm asking for 100% financing. She smiled. She took my number, and 3 days after, I got a call from the National Housing Trust. And when I went there, we only paid $3,500 for a closing cost and get the key for a 3-bedroom unit. And everyone in the scheme benefited from that. And after that, now the NHT started to give 100% financing for the scheme houses because of O'Keefe Saunders. So I'm a man of action, not a bag of mouth. So I've been lobbying with the government for teachers with the National Housing Trust for 100% financing to buy a house on the open market because we can't find the 10%. No, I'm going to tell you, coming this September, we're going to lose over 2,000 teachers out of our classroom. So we have to attack the government to say teachers need benefits. They have to give us some benefit and a livable wage. So I will ask the government for a special benefit of 14 million per teacher. You have to start high. NHT benefit per teacher, because Under my stewardship, I want every teacher to own a home. And if teachers can own them home, they will stay. People have to be leaving because they can't buy a home to migrate to other people's country. That they can send back some money to buy homes. Now, colleagues, also, I've been lobbying for at least 2 of teachers' children must get full scholarship at any tertiary institution, because the lecturers' children at the University of the West Indies, UTech, and teachers' colleges' children get scholarship. So why early childhood, primary, and secondary teachers' children can't get scholarship? So I've been lobbying for at least 2 of our children to get full scholarship at any tertiary institution. Now, colleagues, they're going to say that when I ask a motor vehicle concession, we have a very large labor force, 25,000 strong or over. The government, well, I will lobby with the government and that with conditions for motor vehicle concession, because only principals, vice principals, guidance counselors, deans of discipline, and work experience teachers get motor vehicle concession. No, since the labor force is large, I'm going to, and you can't give the full 25. We are saying, give the senior teachers 20 and give the regular teachers 10. Or, there are thousands of cars on the wharf that people don't claim. Government auction them out. Government sell them to the used car dealers. The used car dealers, they sell us back for arm and leg. So I'm saying to the government, sell the teachers some of those cars for reasonable price. Because some of those SUV that government auction out, used car dealer get them for all $9, $8, $1 million. So you can sell the teachers for $700,000, $800,000 too. Or give us duty free to bring in our own vehicle, because we don't want our teachers to leave here, you know. Because I can tell you something, the country is dark, and when our teachers continue to leave, we're going to get darker. So you have to attack the government with these things. Now, for schools, I will be lobbying with the government to subsidize school canteens, that teachers can get a breakfast and a lunch. You have to work along with the public sector, the principals, and some schools that go wide in agriculture. You have like Ebony Park, Elam, Nakalva, Case, the agriculture section, and you have some high schools that go wide in agriculture, can also supply. It can work. Because sometimes we can't find these $500, $600, and $700 that we have been paying for lunches. We don't have it. So subsidize it, just as how Archers canteen is subsidized, teachers' colleges canteen is subsidized. We want the early childhood, the primary, and the secondary schools canteen to be subsidized. Colleagues, when we leave this profession, our health slash to 20%. When you're getting old, that's when the aches and the pain start. When I was a young boy, and I entered this profession, every sports day, me in a race, I run like wow. No, not a walk, me have to walk. Right? I have to be on blood pressure tablets because of this profession too. Right? So I will be lobbying with the government for retired teachers must get maximum health as a teacher in the classroom. And when it comes to pension, whenever the teachers get an increase, the retired teachers must also get an increase in their pension. Because remember, we are the greatest nation builders of this country. We make everyone. As Suzette said, Nigel Clark. Who teach Nigel Clark maths? That is now such a top mathematician with these big figures. Teachers from early childhood, when you start the set, right up to algebra, up to tertiary. Teachers. So we are very important. So the retired teachers must be, when they leave the system, we can't just throw them in the wilderness like that. Teachers Day, when I saw some of my retired colleagues, they came to JTA Credit Union or by Eddie Common Tip. So I see sorry for some of them. Government need to treat them better. And when you retire, they're going to tell you that before a year or so, they acknowledge you that you're going to leave the system. But when you leave and come off your pre-retirement leave, you have to wait 2 years or 3 years, sometime before you get your pension. Under my stewardship, as soon as the teacher comes off his or her retirement, that teacher must walk straight into his or her pension. And our profession, this is the only profession that you spend 25 years at Donald Quarry and you want to go to Clarendon College. You have to start all over again as a permanent teacher at Donald Quarry. Under my stewardship, you're going to walk with your permanency. The special responsibility position, we find means of way, or you can move also with it. We have to come up with strategies. Transportation for teachers. There are some buses in the corporate area. Government bus. Civil servants can drive on it, but teachers are not allowed to drive on it. When I have done my investigation, civil servants only pay $250 per week. I'm telling you, and it has to happen. Under my stewardship, teachers are going to drive on those buses to pay the $250. And every bus transport should pass through a major town for teachers. Colleagues, I am the man with the plan. And if you're listening, my plans are achievable because I am not getting too much into the budget of the government. These are things that when you lobby for, the government can grant you them. And with the motor vehicle concession and the housing, it was two major points in the opposition leader presentation to say he's going to grant teachers motor vehicle concession and housing in the opposition leader presentation. Colleagues, I have it on record. And we all remember the nursing president Edith Allwood Anderson when she wholeheartedly saw when he came on a platform to say he's going to increase teachers' nurses' salary to 500%. And he paid dearly for it. And if the opposition leader become the prime minister, he has to grant the teachers the motor vehicle concession and the housing because he will pay dearly for it. Colleagues, in the primary schools, they don't have nurses. And I think primary school even need nurses more. High school must have nurses, but primary school, they need nurses there. And it's something that I will lobby with the government. Even a practical nurse must be in the primary schools. And there are some primary schools that are large and they don't have a bursar. The principal can't do everything. As Mr. Mnam said, you have to be ancillary, bursar, nurse, teacher, Right, the principal can't do everything there. So government has to do better. Colleagues, lesson plan is something that is very stressing. And I can tell you it's one of my weak areas. Lesson plan writing. So, along with the JTA and the Ministry of Education, are going to do a lesson plan bank with the different subject areas. So, science, social studies, PE, you just go on the web, draw off what you want, carry it to your class. So we pay the teachers to do a lesson plan that we can put them up on the system, and we have a lesson plan bank, because it is very stressing. And the teacher that died, I saw an incident where the principal blaming herself. I don't know if it's the social media, I saw it and I don't know. But she's blaming herself to say that the teacher really came to her and tell her that lesson plan is stressing her out and such. And you understand? So these things stress you out a lot. And finally, colleagues, let me tell you, for a livable wage, as one of my colleagues talk about the Young's report, bond 6, bond 7, and bond 8. As Eon Mnam said, that gone through the gate already, you know. And I agree with Ethan. We have to find another approach, and a radical approach, because this finance minister is a person that have a stiff head, and you have somebody radical to deal with him, which is O'Keefe Saunders. And I'm saying, when we do our calculation, at least for a livable wage, $300,000 after tax for a teacher, $300,000 after tax. That's a livable wage. And I'm telling you, colleagues, if you put me there, this is one man who is radical. I am not afraid of anyone in a Jamaica. Them say, like, for me mouth, no giant church. Right? I will stand up for the teachers to represent the teachers of Jamaica. And as Suette said, we value 100%. That's why we must value ourselves. We don't value ourselves anything, and that is why we go the last time and accept the foolishness that the finance minister put on the table for us. Because we don't value ourselves and we are not united. And I'm telling you, colleagues, I am the man with the plan. And I am not Jesus Christ. I can't work miracle. But when you put O'Keefe Saunders to represent you, something good is going to happen. Thank you very much.
Well.
I'm telling you, something good is going to happen. Something good is in store.
Out of the 7.
Yes. So we have heard from Mark, the man with the plan.
That's right.
Yes. We have heard from Tolo. Yes. Okay, we have heard from Suette Bakero. We have heard from Miss Green.
Yes.
We have heard from Mnam.
That's right.
We have heard from
Doran Rainford.
Yes, we have heard from Williams.
Jermaine Williams.
And we have heard from Mr. Saunders himself.
Yes.
Absolutely great. And these are all well informed.
That's right.
Well,
they have done
passionate.
their research.
Yes, man.
Yes. And they have come prepared.
Yes, they have.
Right.
They have.
So here we are at the end of the presentation from our candidates, ladies and gentlemen, and we have heard nature at work on the outside, and here we are on the inside. It's still at this hour, minutes after 9 in Jamaica, and minutes after 10 in the United States of America. Now, we're going to be taking just a few questions, 2 at least, from those of you who are on YouTube.
Yes.
And we're going to be taking 2 from the panelists. And if there's anyone else in the room that has a question, then we will also do that. We want to say good evening to our president, Mr. Leighton Johnson, the president-elect, Mr. Mark Smith, and our immediate past president, Mrs. LaSonia Harrison, who all three are watching at this time. We want to also thank our Secretary General, who is with us in the space, and who is saying, my goodness, I did not recognize that these persons, were going to push so hard this evening. And we are not yet at the debate, which is going to happen on Monday, the 10th of June 2024. Ladies and gentlemen, on YouTube, it's your turn for questions. But until you post those questions, let me turn to the panel.
Yes. So, maybe one or two of you could say to us, a lot of persons have expressed that they have lost trust and they're not so keen on being members. What will you do to drive persons to, entice them to become members of this noble organization so that your plans, your manifestos can come to light?
Who wants to take that first? Anyone?
Thanks. We have to understand where our teachers are coming from. That sense of apathy is on the basis that they don't believe that they are being properly represented by the leadership, the collective leadership of the JTA. Many of them don't see what the benefit is with respect to becoming members. And I've oftentimes said it that as leaders, we have to do some amount of introspection, because leadership is not about those in charge. Leadership is about those in your charge. And as such, it's important for us to do some introspection and see how best we can meet the members. But I will also go further, because we have to give back the union to the members. They are the rightful owners, and that is why I have proposed that with respect to salaries and conditions of service, every single teacher has a vote rather than just the delegates. And the platform is now there to do that, because a teacher can stay within their own bedroom, within their staff room, arguing the points with each other, and then going on their phone and voting yes or no for with respect to an offer. I also believe that we need to engage the members more. We need to get out of the offices and get down there and engage, or re-engage them in the way that they need to, and serve them, because that is essentially what it is.
All right. We take any other responses from any of the candidates?
Yes, thank you. If you look on my manifesto, you see where I said that we are going to basically reignite the study circle. We have two arms of the JTA. There is the industrial relation arm, and there is a professional arm. What we have done over the past couple of years is use the professional arm and basically stifling the industrial relation arm. So therefore, the teachers are not seeing JTA as a union. In fact, we might need to even change the name, Jamaica Teachers Union, instead of Jamaica Teachers Association. Because union would mean that we are a trade union. That's what we are, We're a trade union. And what has happened over the years is that members are not being educated to the processes within the JT, even simple salary negotiations. The number of things that you hear when you go on the campaign trail, you realize that our members do not know how the JTA operates. And just as how we spend millions of dollars going to hotels and having professional development seminars, which the Ministry of Education really is responsible for, we need to spend some of those monies in unionism. And that is why, as a part of Study Circle now, we are proposing a union week. A union week where unionism comes alive.
And you're saying that doing this will return the trust to the teachers.
This will give members the opportunity to learn the JTA. Because there are quite a few members who just joined JTA and they will say the JTA. And I keep telling teachers, it's our JTA. JTA belongs to us. We employ a secretariat to work, to manage the affairs. They work for us and with us. And they should have our interests at heart.
So therefore, we need to ensure that our teachers are fully educated to the processes, because some of the times really we cast some blames and aspersions that are not really necessarily true because of lack of knowledge.
Thank you,
So
Mr.
knowledge
McNamee.
needs to be out there.
All right. We have two other persons who want to respond. We take Mrs. Green and Miss Green, rather, and then Mr. Williams and O'Keefe.
I honestly believe that we need to engage our members at the district association level. Many of our members are not familiar with what happens in the JTA and understand how the JTA operates, and we need to engage our members. I also believe that we need to provide some amount of incentives as they go out and they share and they participate. Study circle is one good way of educating our members, but how many schools have conveners that are being trained? As I travel around Jamaica, I've found out that there is a thing that is lacking. Many of those schools that have over 100 teachers or even over 80, they don't have one convener. There's schools that have entered and I've spoken to the teachers and they're asking me, what on earth is study circle? So we need to re-engage our members, educate them, and at the level of the district association, we need to ensure that they understand what is going on. All right?
Thank you very much. Mr. Williams?
All right, good evening again, colleagues. I agree with my fellow candidates. One of the first things is an education awareness program. Once you join the association, you must be aware of the systems, the structures that are in place. I believe that our union has one of the strongest structure in place. It starts with the contact teacher. It is important that members elect a strong contact teacher who will represent their interests, who will pass on the information, but they also need to understand every member needs to take that responsibility to ensure that they participate in their district association meetings. And it is also important that the parish has a strong executive that works. Transparency is also very important. The JTA does a lot. More can be done as well. And I believe that sometimes some decisions that are taken, there could also be greater engagement. Sometimes it's like the road, you fix the road, but people are hungry. People can't eat road. So sometimes we need to understand what is happening on the ground and address those issues. Thank you.
Okay. All right, so go ahead, Mr. Saunders.
Okay, read the JTA. As leaders, when you go out there, teachers criticize the JTA a lot. And people get upset. Yeah, not to get upset. You have to listen to the owners of the union and say, okay, we can make some adjustment. JTA is a very powerful organization. And JTA serve the teachers, but need to do better. I'm not hiding anything, right? When it come on to negotiation, the JTA is very poor at negotiation with the teachers. To defend the rights of the teachers, the JTA, they are up there. And yes, they're doing some good things for the teachers, but more benefits, the teachers need to get more benefit from the JTA. More benefits from the JTA. And I said the negotiation is very poor. And that is what why teachers really against the JTA because of negotiation.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
May I say something again?
Yes.
First and foremost, our colleagues need to understand that the JT is a trade union. That's the number one function of the JT, industrial relations. But then the JT has taken on added responsibilities which include professional development, some of what the Ministry of Education should have been doing. So that is why I think members will realize that although they're getting a lot of professional development sessions and seminars and so on going on now, the industrial relations part is not being taken care of in that light.
Thank you so much. So there's a question here that says, what plan does candidates have in place to design with the credit union tip to create good long-term and valuable investments option for teachers so that they can diversify their finance portfolio? Go ahead, Mr. Malab.
And then we'll come back to Doran.
Yes.
I oftentimes said it that if I knew then what I know now, then I would have done some things differently. I am going beyond that, because where I am at is that I believe that the JTA needs to have more investment seminars. And it's the type of investment seminar that does not just have persons coming in telling you about products, but the type of investment seminars where persons are telling you, are showing you how to invest, for example, in stocks, in bonds, that sort of thing, because it will certainly help our teachers in the long run. It's important that our teachers build passive wealth, yeah, so that when they become pensioners, they don't only have to rely on their own pensions. And so for me, that is what is important. So I would go beyond that and teach our teachers, or help our teachers with investment based on their how risk averse they are.
All right, so we are coming closer and closer to the end. We're going to be asking you to be as precise as possible in the response. Dorian, you had your hand up earlier. Right. So go right ahead with your, and you have 2 minutes to answer.
So quickly,
Less than 2 minutes, yes.
The first question that was asked, there are 3 areas that I would be looking at. One, if we want to improve the quality of representation and to ensure that our teachers are interested in being a part of this great union, there are 3 things, 3 areas: accountability and governance, good governance. It means that our teachers must be able to see where the records, what is going on, the balance sheets that speaks, the auditing that is done, the external auditing, all those areas that will contribute to good governance and accountability. That it must be demonstrated by the union in order to help to initiate and to cause teachers to be also involved in, to be interested in the union. The second point has to do with transparency. When there's transparency, then trust is built. And once there's trust, then there's a belief that whatever the union is saying is actually what is taking place. And then there's the need for more collaboration, more engagement to empower all members and to get new members to want to be a part of the union.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, candidates. I know you have a lot to say. And Monday, June 10th.
That's right.
You're going to have your moment to shine once more. We are really proud of you. And we are really happy for the persons who would have interacted online. You know, you have your supporters. And I just want to encourage you to continue to, you know, lobby your points. Continue to be that representative. And I wish you all the best in this presidential election.
Thank you very much, and Ms. McDonald, it was a pleasure sharing with you.
Thank you.
You are on the side of the nurses.
Yes.
And I'm on the side of the teachers. Right. Because your training is in the nursing.
Absolutely.
Right. And I'm in education.
Yes, sir.
Right. It was so nice to be sharing with you this evening.
Thank you for the opportunity.
And some of the points that have resonated with the nurses who are watching as well.
Absolutely.
Right. And so we want to say thanks very much to our Secretary General who stayed with us the entire time. We want to say thanks to our production team that have worked with us for this particular production. We want to say thanks to Mark Malava. We want to say thanks to
Mrs. Suette
Bakero. We want to say thanks to Georgia Green and
Eon Mnam.
Yes, Doran Rainford.
Jermaine Williams.
And the man with the plan.
Yes, Mr. O'Keefe Saunders.
Please stand. And we're going to be closing out in just a while. The last word, in 10 seconds. Mr. Malava and the team. If I give you the microphone at this time, then I'll have to also give the others the last word. So I'm going to give you 10 seconds out of 60 for all of you.
Yes.
The co-host, the nurses were treated in accordance with the Ernst & Young report.
Yeah.
But yet, there are those who are saying it was only a recommendation.
Right. What's your last word, Mrs. Bakero?
Teachers, what is your value? What is your worth? Send a message and vote that you value more than what they are giving you now. Vote Suette Bakero.
Georgia Green.
Teachers, during the week of June 17 to 21, you're going to be voting for decisive, determined, dependable, and strong leadership. Vote Georgia Green. Vote Georgia, and you will be right.
Eon Mnam.
That's right.
Teachers, during the third week of June, ensure that you vote experience. Ensure that you vote the one who knows the way, goes the way, shows the way. Teachers, you're not looking for a classroom teacher. You're not looking for a principal. You're looking for someone who is fearless, knows the issues, understands the issues, and can articulate the issues. Proactive leadership is the way forward. Eon Mnam.
Teachers, vote, vote, vote. In the third week of June, June the 17th to 21, vote for Doran Rainford as your president-elect for the JTA. Vote for a leader who understands your issue, who understands what you are going through, and who's willing to work and to represent your interests at the bargaining table. Vote, vote, vote. Class is now in session.
Right. So let's hear from Jermaine from the West.
Yes.
Colleagues, you ask for a champion teacher, one who is knowledgeable, one who is experienced, one to represent your interests. Vote Jermaine Williams.
Right. And who's the last person?
Mr. O'Keefe Saunders himself. Terrian O'Keefe Saunders.
Colleagues, I am the man with the plan, a classroom teacher. Who feels it, knows it. Vote O'Keefe Saunders, the man with the plan, an achievable one.
And so, ladies and gentlemen, it has been my pleasure. My name is Leon Nash.
And I'm Lillian Lewis MacDonald.
Thank you so much for watching our pre-JTA President-elect Forum. Remember, the debate comes up on
June 10th.
Monday. That's coming. But before that, I want to remind you of some very important things that are going to be happening Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Right. What is happening on Friday?
So on Friday, the 39th staging of the JTA Sagicor Championships.
That's right. Where's it going to be?
It's going to be at the National Stadium.
And who's going to be there?
All of the parishes will be there. And
That's
you
right.
have the twins.
Tia and Tina Clayton.
Yes.
You've been watching.
Absolutely. And guess what? Only $300.
Only $300 to get in.
Be there.
That's going to be nice.
Yes.
And
yes.
There's a very important note. Usain Bolt came out of this meet.
Absolutely. I have
Veronica
personal
Campbell,
investment as well, you know.
Yes.
Yes.
My
Absolutely.
goodness, my goodness.
Absolutely.
Only $300.
Yes.
So please make your way to the National Stadium. Come tomorrow morning. It's raining. But I'm telling
to
you,
cool down
the
the
Lord is going to
event.
cool it down and
Yes.
cause us all to have a good time tomorrow.
Yes.
And the opening session will be on Saturday when the 4x100 meters
Absolutely.
hit the track.
Oh, my.
It's going to be St. Elizabeth,
No. It's going to be Kingston and St. Andrew.
or it may be St. Mary,
Catherine.
or it may be Portland.
Yes.
Which other parish?
Listen, St. Mary, Portland, Clarendon,
Westmoreland.
Trelawney, Westmoreland.
Yes.
Come on.
St. Thomas.
Yes.
All
St.
the 14.
James.
St. James.
Absolutely. Come,
Yes.
come
My
and
goodness.
share for your parish.
Uh-huh.
and take it home.
All 14 parishes. St. Elizabeth is the defending champion, and therefore I know that they will be heading back to the National Stadium to make sure that they hold on to that trophy another year. But I tell you, all the other parishes will be coming hard at them.
Absolutely.
But want to let you know that on Sunday,
Yes, man.
go to your nearest stand and purchase your copy of the Sunday Gleaner.
Absolutely.
Inside of it will be a special keepsake.
Yes.
Yes.
The
We're doing it for you. It's 60 years of existence of the JTA. It's our anniversary, and we're doing it good. There are going to be other activities that will be coming to your attention.
Opportunity for knowledge, eh?
That's right, as we move on. But for us now, this has been the end of our presentation, coming to you live from 97B Church Street in Kingston, Jamaica, to the world.
Absolutely.
Good evening.
Good evening.
That's brilliant.